They're watching you. Every move you telegraph, every emotion you broadcast, every intention you announce. You've handed them the blueprint to your destruction, and you don't even realize it. The world rewards the loud, the visible, the performers dancing for validation. But power, real power, moves in the shadows. It calculates in silence. It strikes when the target never saw it coming. Machiavelli understood this 5 centuries ago. The greatest victories are won before the battle is ever fought. The most devastating moves are the ones no one sees until it's already over. You want to be untouchable? Then you must become a ghost, not invisible, not passive. A ghost with purpose, a phantom with precision, operating in the spaces between what people see and what they think they know. Most men live their entire lives as open books, predictable, readable, exploitable. They announce their plans, they share their strategies, they reveal their vulnerabilities for the comfort of being understood, and they wonder why they're always 3 steps behind. You're done with that. From this moment forward, you operate differently. You become the strategist who never shows his hand, the force they feel but cannot identify, the outcome they never anticipated. This is not about hiding. This is about controlling information like the weapon it is. Every word you speak is intelligence. Every reaction you show is data. Every plan you reveal is ammunition handed to your enemies. The amateur thinks transparency builds trust. The master knows mystery builds respect. People don't fear what they understand. They fear what they cannot predict. Number 2, the silence advantage. Silence is your first weapon, not the silence of weakness, not the silence of fear, the silence of absolute control. When everyone else is talking, explaining, justifying their existence, you're observing, you're calculating, you're 3 moves ahead while they're still announcing move 1. This is the Machiavellian edge they'll never teach you in polite society. The man who talks reveals his position. The man who listens controls the board. Every conversation is an intelligence operation. Every interaction is reconnaissance. While they're performing, desperate for acknowledgement, you're extracting data. Their insecurities, their ambitions, their pressure points. They think you're quiet because you have nothing to say. You're quiet because you're cataloging everything they're stupid enough to reveal. Machiavelli operated in the courts of Florence where one wrong word meant exile or death. He learned that survival belongs to those who master the gap between what they know and what they show. Your silence makes them nervous. Your stillness makes them second guess. Your refusal to explain yourself makes them create stories, and those stories reveal more about them than any interrogation ever could. Watch how uncomfortable people become when you don't fill the Kongjian with unnecessary words. They'll project. They'll assume. They'll expose their own fears, trying to figure out yours. This is power. The power to make them show their cards while yours remain face down. Stop announcing your moves on social media. Stop telling everyone your plans. Stop seeking validation for decisions you haven't even executed yet. The world doesn't need to know you're going to the gym. They need to see the results 6 months later and wonder how you transformed. They don't need to hear about your business idea. They need to see it operational and profitable while they're still talking about their dreams. Move in silence. Let success be your only announcement. Comment silent power if you understand. Number 3, precision over chaos. Now let's talk about the strike, because silence without action is just hiding. You're not building a fortress to cower in. You're gathering intelligence to execute with surgical precision. Most men operate in chaos, emotional reactions, impulsive decisions, scattered energy across 1,000 meaningless battles. They swing wildly at everything that offends them. They respond to every provocation. They fight every fight. And they wonder why they're exhausted and empty-handed. You don't operate like that anymore. You choose your targets with the cold calculation of a sniper. 1 shot, 1 kill, maximum impact, minimum exposure. Machiavelli watched the Borgias conquer Italy not through brute force, but through precise strikes at critical moments. They didn't fight every enemy. They eliminated the enemies that mattered. They didn't defend every accusation. They responded only when silence would cost them ground. This is your new operating system, precision. Not every disrespect deserves a response. Not every opportunity deserves your energy. Not every battle deserves your attention. The master strategist knows that power is finite, your time is finite, your energy is finite, your attention is finite. Waste these resources on trivial conflicts and you'll have nothing left when the real war arrives. So, you wait, you observe, you identify the pressure point, the moment, the opening. And when it appears, you strike with such overwhelming force and clarity that the outcome is decided before they realize what happened. No drama, no announcement, no warning. Just execution. They'll be analyzing the wreckage, wondering what hit them while you've already disappeared from the scene. This is not cruelty. This is efficiency. This is respect for your own resources. This is understanding that scattered aggression is weakness masquerading as strength, while focused precision is strength that needs no mask. Stop reacting to everything. Start responding to what matters. Stop fighting everyone. Start eliminating obstacles. Stop proving yourself constantly. Start producing results occasionally. The difference between reaction and response is strategy. The difference between chaos and precision is power. Comment: surgical strike if you're learning to choose your battles. Number 4. The art of disappearance. Here's where most men fail. They make the move. They achieve the victory. And then they can't help themselves. They need the credit, they need the recognition, they need everyone to know it was them, and that's when they get destroyed. The third principle is disappearance. You strike with precision, achieve the objective, and then you vanish like you were never there. No victory lap, no bragging rights, no "look what I did" performance for the crowd. Because the moment you attach your name to the outcome, you become the target. Machiavelli observed that the most dangerous time for any strategist is immediately after success. That's when envy emerges, when allies become enemies, when the crowd that cheered you yesterday starts plotting your downfall today. Success makes you visible, visibility makes you vulnerable, so you extract the value and dissolve back into obscurity before the backlash forms. Think about it. The greatest intelligence operations in history, you don't know who ran them. The most effective corporate takeovers. The real architects stayed behind shell companies and proxies, the political moves that changed nations. The true strategists never sat in the president's chair. They don't have statues. They don't have Wikipedia pages. They have power. Real power. The kind that doesn't need validation because it's too busy compounding in the shadows. You're not building a brand. You're building an empire. Brands need attention. Empires need discretion. Your ego wants the applause. Your empire needs the silence. Choose. Every time you take credit publicly, you paint a target on yourself. Every time you celebrate openly, you invite scrutiny. Every time you explain how you won, you hand them the playbook to defeat you next time. The warrior who returns from battle and parades through the streets gets the glory. The warrior who returns quietly and prepares for the next war keeps his kingdom. You're playing for keeps, not for clicks, not for likes, not for the temporary dopamine of being recognized. You're playing for sustained, compounding, untouchable power, and that requires you to master the hardest skill of all, winning without anyone knowing you won. Let them think it was luck. Let them think it was timing. Let them think it was anyone but you. While they're guessing, you're already positioning for the next move. Comment, vanish, and win if you're ready to disappear. Number 5. The Ghost Protocol Framework. Let me break down exactly how this works in practice, because philosophy without application is just entertainment. You need a system, a framework, a ghost protocol that governs every decision you make. First, the information firewall. You categorize everything in your life into 3 tiers. Tier 1, information that stays locked in your mind, your true intentions, your long-term strategy, your actual capabilities, your vulnerabilities, your next 3 moves. This never leaves your head, not to your best friend, not to your partner, not to your journal, nowhere. Tier 2, information you share selectively with people who have earned access through proven loyalty and mutual benefit. Current projects, tactical decisions, resources you're deploying. But even here, you never show the complete picture. They get their piece of the puzzle, never the whole map. Tier 3, public information. The carefully curated version of yourself you allow the world to see. Successful outcomes after they're secured. Strengths that benefit from being known. The persona that serves your objectives. Notice what's missing from Tier 3? Your struggles, your doubts, your failures, your learning process. The world doesn't get to see you under construction. They see the finished product, or they see nothing. Second, the execution protocol. You identify the objective. You gather intelligence in silence. You plan the approach with precision. You execute when conditions align. You extract the value. You disappear before the dust settles. No emotional investment in being seen as the winner. Only cold investment in actually winning. Third, the attribution deflection. When success happens and people ask how, you have 3 responses ready. Luck. You got lucky. Timing. You were in the right place at the right time. Team effort. You had help from amazing people. Notice you're not lying. You're just not claiming sole credit. You're not explaining the 100 calculated decisions that created that luck. You're not detailing the years of positioning that created that timing. You're not naming yourself as the architect who assembled and directed that team. Let them underestimate you. Let them think you stumbled into success. Let them believe it's unrepeatable. While they're dismissing you, you're repeating it. Fourth, the invisibility maintenance. You regularly audit your digital footprint, your social media presence, your public statements, your associations, anything that creates a predictable pattern, anything that reveals too much, anything that makes you targetable, and you erase or obscure it. Not because you're hiding, because you're protecting your strategic advantage. The enemy can't hit what they can't see. The competition can't copy what they can't decode. The masses can't tear down what they can't identify. This is the ghost protocol. This is how you become untouchable. Not through armor, through absence, not through defending every angle, through presenting no angles to defend. You become the force that shapes outcomes without being connected to them. The invisible hand that moves pieces on the board while everyone else is staring at the pieces, trying to understand the pattern. Comment invisible hand if this framework is clicking. Number 6. The psychology of the unseen. Now let's get into the dark psychology that makes this devastating. Because when you operate as a ghost, you're not just protecting yourself, you're weaponizing human nature against everyone who underestimates you. People fear what they cannot understand. They obsess over what they cannot control. And they destroy themselves trying to figure out what you refuse to explain. This is the paradox of power. The more visible you are, the more they think they know you. The more they think they know you, the more comfortable they become. And comfort breeds contempt. They start testing you, challenging you, plotting against you. But when you're a ghost, when your moves don't make sense to them, when your success seems random, when they can't predict your next step, they freeze, they second guess, they hesitate. And hesitation is death in any competitive arena. Machiavelli wrote about this in the context of fear versus love. He said it's better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. But he missed the deeper truth. It's better to be unknown than either feared or loved, because fear creates enemies who plot your downfall. Love creates dependents who resent your power. But mystery creates paralysis in those who would oppose you. They can't build a strategy against an opponent they can't profile. They can't exploit weaknesses they can't identify. They can't form alliances against a threat they can't define. So they wait. And while they wait, you move. Here's what happens in their minds when you operate as a ghost. First, projection. They fill the information vacuum with their own fears and assumptions. The paranoid see you as a threat. The ambitious see you as competition. The insecure see you as judgment. And all of them create elaborate narratives about who you are and what you want. None of these narratives are accurate. All of them reveal their own psychology. This is intelligence you never asked for. They're handing you their playbook while creating fictional versions of yours. Second, obsession. Human beings cannot tolerate uncertainty. It's neurologically painful. So when you refuse to explain yourself, when you don't seek their approval, when you operate outside their understanding, they become obsessed with figuring you out. They waste energy analyzing you, time theorizing about you, resources investigating you. Meanwhile, you're not thinking about them at all. You're executing. This is asymmetric warfare. They're fighting shadows while you're taking ground. Third, attribution errors. When you succeed without explaining how, their minds automatically downgrade your competence. It must have been luck. It must have been circumstances. It must have been something other than skill and strategy. This is exactly what you want. Let them believe you're not a threat. Let them think you're just fortunate. Let them assume it won't happen again. And when it does happen again, and again and again, their cognitive dissonance will prevent them from adapting. They'll keep waiting for your luck to run out, instead of recognizing you're operating on a different level entirely. Fourth, social proof erosion. Because you don't perform for validation, because you don't explain your wins, because you don't engage in status games, they can't use social proof against you. They can't point to your failures because you don't broadcast them. They can't mock your ambitions because you don't announce them. They can't tear down your image because you haven't built a public one to tear down. You're immune to the primary weapon of mediocre people, collective judgment. And this immunity makes you dangerous, because you literally don't care what they think, not as a coping mechanism, as a strategic reality. Their opinions have zero impact on your operations. Comment strategic ghost if you see the psychological advantage. Number 7. The execution paradox. Here's where it gets counterintuitive. Most people think moving in silence means doing nothing. They think disappearing means hiding. They confuse the ghost protocol with passivity, and that's why they stay weak. Let me be absolutely clear. You're not becoming invisible because you're afraid. You're becoming invisible because you're lethal. The lion doesn't announce its presence in the tall grass, not because it's scared, because it's hunting. Every principle we've discussed, silence, precision, disappearance, these aren't defensive strategies, they're offensive weapons. You move in silence so your competition doesn't see you coming. You strike with precision so the damage is irreversible before they react. You disappear so they can't retaliate effectively. This is aggression perfected. This is ambition weaponized. This is how you take everything while they're still talking about taking something. Machiavelli served in the Florentine Republic during its most treacherous period. He watched men who announced their intentions get destroyed. He watched men who built public personas get torn apart by the same crowds that built them up. And he watched men who operated in shadows accumulate power that lasted generations. The Medici family didn't conquer Florence through dramatic displays of force. They did it through strategic marriages no one noticed, financial moves no one understood, political alliances no one saw forming. And by the time Florence realized what happened, the Medici owned everything. That's the execution paradox. Maximum action, minimum visibility. While everyone else is posting their gym sessions, you're building a physique that speaks for itself 6 months later. While everyone else is announcing their business ideas, you're filing patents and securing customers. While everyone else is talking about their goals, you're achieving them in silence and letting results do the talking. But here's the critical distinction. You're not silent about everything. You're strategically vocal about misdirection. You want people looking left while you move right. So you might talk about interest in real estate while you're actually building a tech company. You might post about fitness while your real focus is financial empire building. You might engage in visible hobby while your invisible work is what actually matters. This is operational security at the highest level. The ghost doesn't just disappear. The ghost leaves false trails, creates decoys, generates noise in one direction while moving in another. Think about your current life. What are you announcing that you shouldn't be? What plans are you sharing that give your competition time to block you? What victories are you celebrating that paint targets on your back? And reverse it. What false signals could you send? What could you appear to focus on that keeps people looking away from your real objectives? What version of yourself could you project that makes them underestimate the version that's actually operating? This is not dishonesty. This is strategy. You're not lying about who you are. You're controlling what they see. There's a profound difference. The military doesn't lie about having weapons. They just don't tell you where those weapons are, how many they have, or when they'll use them. That's not deception. That's operational security. Your life is the same. You don't owe anyone transparency into your strategy. You don't owe anyone explanations for your moves. You don't owe anyone real-time updates on your progress. What you owe yourself is victory. And victory requires controlling information like the nuclear weapon it is. So you execute relentlessly. You work harder than everyone around you. You make moves daily that compound into empires. You take risks they're too scared to take. You persist through failures they'd quit from, but you do it all in the dark. And when the results emerge into light, when the empire becomes too large to hide, when success forces itself into visibility, you're already 3 moves ahead of anyone trying to catch up. They'll study your visible success, trying to decode it. They'll never see the invisible work that created it. They'll try to copy your public moves. They'll never understand the private strategy that made those moves possible. This is the execution paradox. Be more aggressive than everyone. Be more ambitious than everyone. Work harder than everyone, but look like you're doing less than everyone. The Ghost Protocol isn't about doing nothing. It's about doing everything while appearing to do nothing. It's about building empires in silence and letting them discover the empire when it's already too powerful to stop. Comment silent empire if you're ready to execute invisibly. Number 8, the untouchable mindset. Let's talk about what happens inside your mind when you fully commit to this protocol, because the external strategy is useless without the internal transformation. You need to rewire how you process validation, how you handle success, how you deal with being misunderstood. This is where most men break. They can intellectually understand the Ghost Protocol. They can see the strategic advantage. But emotionally, they're still addicted to being seen. They're still desperate for recognition. They're still weak. The untouchable mindset starts with killing your need for external validation, not reducing it, not managing it, killing it completely. This is painful. Your ego will fight you every step of the way because your ego has been trained since childhood to seek approval. Gold stars in elementary school, grades in high school, likes on social media, promotions at work. Your entire identity has been constructed around external metrics of worth. And I'm telling you to burn that foundation to the ground. Here's the truth they don't want you to know. Every time you seek validation, you hand someone else power over you. Every time you need someone to acknowledge your success, you make them the gatekeeper of your self-worth. Every time you explain yourself, you submit to their judgment. This is voluntary slavery. You're putting chains on yourself and asking others to hold the keys. The untouchable man doesn't do this. He validates himself through one metric only. Did I execute what I set out to execute? Not did they applaud. Not did they understand. Not did they approve. Did I do what I said I would do? Yes or no? That's the only scoreboard that matters. When you operate from this frame, something incredible happens. You become immune to both praise and criticism. Someone compliments you, irrelevant. You already know what you accomplished. Someone criticizes you, irrelevant. They're judging incomplete information. You're not being arrogant. You're being accurate. They literally don't have access to your full strategy, your complete data, your actual objectives. So their opinion, positive or negative, is based on a fraction of the reality. Why would you emotionally invest in assessments built on ignorance? Machiavelli understood this when he wrote The Prince. He wasn't trying to be liked. He wasn't trying to be understood. He was trying to be accurate. And for 500 years, people have called him cynical, immoral, evil. Does that change the fact that his observations about power were correct? Does popular opinion alter reality? The untouchable mindset recognizes that truth doesn't require consensus. Effectiveness doesn't require approval. Victory doesn't require witnesses. You do what works. Period. Not what looks good. Not what people will cheer for. What actually produces the outcome you're seeking. And if that makes you unpopular, if that makes you misunderstood, If that makes you the villain in their story, irrelevant. You're not writing their story, you're writing yours. Here's what this looks like practically. You achieve something significant. Your first instinct is to share it, to post it, to tell people, to get that dopamine hit of recognition, and you stop yourself. You sit with the victory privately. You let it compound internally. You extract the lesson, bank the result, and move to the next objective. No announcement, no performance, no external validation loop. Just pure execution and immediate reinvestment. This is uncomfortable at first. Intensely uncomfortable. You'll feel like you're suffocating. Like if you don't share it, it didn't really happen. That's your addiction talking. That's the validation dependency screaming for its fix. And you starve it deliberately until the discomfort fades, until silence becomes normal, until privacy becomes power. Now you're developing the untouchable mindset. You stop explaining yourself. Someone questions your decision. You don't justify it. You don't defend it. You don't explain your reasoning. You simply continue executing. If it works, the results will speak. If it doesn't work, the lesson is yours alone. Either way, their understanding is not required. You stop comparing yourself to others publicly. You might track competitors privately for strategic intelligence, but you're not measuring your worth against their highlight reels. You're measuring today's version of yourself against yesterday's version. That's the only comparison that matters. Because you're not competing with them, you're becoming something they can't even conceptualize yet. You stop seeking permission from society, from family, from friends, from anyone. You inform people of decisions when necessary for logistics, but you're not asking if it's okay. You're not checking if they approve. You decided. You're executing. Their comfort with your choices is their problem, not yours. This is what untouchable looks like. Not arrogant, not isolated, not antisocial, just absolutely unmoved by external judgment, completely self-validated through execution, totally focused on outcomes rather than optics. And when you reach this state, when you genuinely don't need them to see you, don't need them to understand you, don't need them to approve of you, you become something they can't touch. Because all their weapons, mockery, criticism, judgment, exclusion, all of it requires you to care what they think, and you don't. Not because you're pretending not to care, because you literally have bigger priorities. You're building empires, they're building audiences, you're accumulating power, they're accumulating likes, you're executing protocols, they're explaining themselves. You're already gone, already 3 moves ahead, already untouchable. Comment, self-validated if you're breaking free from their judgment. Number 9, the long game dominance. Now we address the element that separates the ghost protocol from every other self-improvement strategy you've encountered. Time. Everyone wants instant results, immediate transformation, quick wins they can screenshot and share. That's exactly why they stay weak. The ghost protocol operates on a completely different timeline. You're not optimizing for next week. You're architecting the next decade. You're not chasing viral moments. You're building compounding systems. And you're doing it so quietly that by the time anyone notices, it's too late for them to catch up. Machiavelli observed that the most successful rulers weren't the ones who won spectacular battles. They were the ones who positioned themselves so advantageously over time that battles became unnecessary. The war was won through strategic marriages, economic dependencies, and political alliances built over decades. Victory through patience, dominance through time. This is your new relationship with success. You plant seeds in silence, you water them in private, you protect the growth from public scrutiny, and years later, when everyone else is still talking about planting seeds, you're harvesting forests. Here's why this is devastating. Most people operate in cycles of announcement and abandonment. They declare goals publicly, get a hit of validation from the declaration, feel like they've already accomplished something, then quit when the actual work gets hard. You've seen this 1,000 times. New Year's resolutions announced in January, forgotten by February, business ideas posted on Monday, abandoned by Friday, transformation promises made loudly, delivered never. They're addicted to the announcement, not the achievement. You're the opposite. You announce nothing. You simply begin, and you continue. Day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year. While they're cycling through new announcements, you're compounding execution on the same strategic objectives. This creates an exponential advantage they can't comprehend. In month 1, you're barely ahead. In month 6, you're noticeably ahead. In year 2, you're in a different category. In year 5, you're operating in a dimension they can't even see. And because you never announced what you were building, they have no framework to understand how you got there. It looks like overnight success to them. It was 5 years of silent execution to you. Let them think whatever they want. You know the truth. Here's the practical application. You identify 3 to 5 areas of life that matter for long-term dominance. Physical capability, financial freedom, strategic relationships, specialized knowledge, mental resilience, whatever your specific empire requires. And you build systems in each area that compound without requiring daily decisions. You're not motivating yourself to work out. You have a non-negotiable training protocol. You're not trying to save money. You have automated wealth accumulation systems. You're not hoping to learn. You have structured knowledge acquisition rituals. You remove willpower from the equation. You remove motivation from the equation. You remove feelings from the equation entirely. You build systems that run regardless of how you feel, and then you disappear into those systems for years. No updates, no progress posts, no motivation quotes, just silent, relentless, systematic execution. Now let's talk about what happens to your competition during this time. They're distracted, constantly. New trends, new gurus, new strategies, new shortcuts. They're always starting over, always chasing the next thing, always 3 steps into 100 different journeys. You're 3 years deep into 5 specific journeys. The depth difference is insurmountable. They have surface-level knowledge of everything. You have expert-level mastery of what matters. They can talk about 1,000 topics. You can execute on 5 with devastating effectiveness. They're generalists trying to be interesting. You're a specialist designed to dominate. And here's the beautiful part. They think they're winning because they're more visible, more followers, more engagement, more recognition. They have no idea that visibility is a vanity metric. You have assets, systems, skills, resources, power, real, tangible, compounding power, and you acquired it all while they were performing. This is long-game dominance. You sacrifice short-term recognition for long-term positioning. You trade temporary applause for permanent advantage. You give up being understood today to be unstoppable tomorrow. Machiavelli spent years in political exile, forgotten and dismissed. During that exile, he wrote the books that would influence leaders for centuries. He wasn't winning the daily political games anymore. He was winning the eternal strategic game. That's the level you're operating on now. You're not competing for this quarter's metrics. You're positioning for this decade's outcomes. You're not trying to be impressive at the next social gathering. You're trying to be free 5 years from now. You're not optimizing for their timeline. You're operating on yours, and your timeline is longer, deeper, more strategic than anything they're capable of conceptualizing. So while they're sprinting in circles, you're running marathons in straight lines. While they're celebrating small wins loudly, you're stacking significant wins silently. While they're explaining their potential, you're actualizing yours. The Ghost Protocol isn't a quick fix. It's a complete reconstruction of how you engage with time, effort, and visibility. It's choosing to be unknown and powerful over famous and weak. It's choosing to build in darkness so you can emerge in light when the foundation is unshakable. This is how you become untouchable, not through one dramatic move, through 1,000 invisible moves that compound into an empire they never saw coming. Comment, long game ghost, if you're committed to the decade, not the day. Number 10, the final protocol. You now have the complete framework. Move in silence, strike with precision, disappear without trace. This is not theory. This is operational doctrine for the man who refuses to be ordinary. Starting today, you implement the Ghost Protocol. You stop announcing, you stop explaining, you stop performing for validation. You become the invisible force that shapes outcomes while everyone else is arguing about who deserves credit. Machiavelli's Ghost Protocol isn't about hiding from the world, it's about operating above it. It's about playing a game so sophisticated that most people don't even know it exists. While they're fighting for scraps of attention, you're accumulating empires of actual power. The untouchable man doesn't need to be seen. He needs to be effective. He doesn't need to be understood. He needs to be unstoppable. And that's exactly what you're becoming. Every day you execute in silence is a day you pull further ahead. Every move you make without announcement is a move they can't counter. Every victory you secure without celebration is a foundation stone they can't remove. This is your path now. The Ghost Protocol. Silence, precision, disappearance. Repeat until untouchable. Comment, "I am the ghost," to commit to this protocol. If this resonated, hit that like button. Subscribe to Machiavellian Mind for more strategic power psychology, and turn on notifications because what comes next will complete your transformation. The ghost is watching. The ghost is learning. The ghost is becoming unstoppable. Now disappear and execute.